Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Game, and we are returning to Garrett Grigsby's War in the West. Now, last episode, we had generated a couple of breakthroughs towards Belgium, and that was kind of interesting because we did push back the Germans a little bit. Now, I did run the German turn here because I really didn't expect any counterattack, and no counterattack materialized, so that's all fine. But imagine my surprise when I loaded this up, and let's look at the front line over here. The Germans have withdrawn quite a couple of their units, apparently, from the front line. They are not forming a coherent front line here anymore. So, if we do look closely, we do see that they have still a center of resistance around Brussels over here in central Belgium. They have about, I would call that 3, maybe 4 divisions around here. Most of them a little bit strewn out here in this frontal position. A little bit of a security battalion or regiment here actually in Brussels itself, and a little bit here towards the north to Antwerp. But south of that, there's a huge gap in the German front lines. All the way from Wallonia towards Champagne, there is not a single combat unit. All of these units here are headquarter units. In fact, they don't even have anything up until the German line over here. This Siegfried line, I want to say, the former Westwall, on the German, French, and German Belgian border here. So, huge gap over here. Now, south of that, interestingly, they are re-establishing their line. So, sort of south of Luxembourg, you can see there are a couple of divisions over here. And it's very interesting because the Germans are changing how they are defending over here, and I would not have expected that from the AI. So, what the AI typically did, and which I think we can still see in France over here, is they did split their divisions, and they had sort of always a brigade also in our front lines. But they had a very broad front line with very few centers of resistance. Here, it seems to be very different. They have a full division every 2 hexes, so we can't pass through that easily. They do exert zone of control, but it's interesting to see that they are doing that. So that's very interesting here in the Lorraine region of France. So very, very interesting setup down here. Now, this is something that we're probably not going to attack, but let's look at that slightly to the south here in the Vosges Mountains. You can see the Germans are starting to wrap some forces around here, and this is probably the heaviest concentration of forces that the Germans are putting against us. So let's look at that. We've got 2 motorized brigades over here. There's another motorized brigade over here, so basically a full division. Then we've got the 2nd SS Panzer Division. Look at the equipment of these guys. They have 34 Tigers, 17... So they have about 50 Panthers. They have 34 Tigers and 51 King Tigers, plus 50 Panzer Force. So incredibly strong forces here. Then slightly to the north of that, another full SS Panzer Division. And then, full Panzer Division. And then another Panzer Division over here. So just 3 Panzer Divisions, a motorized division, an infantry division, and bits and pieces around here. That's a very, very strong setup that they have in the Freiburg-Vosges country over here. Very, very interesting to see. Now, we have created actually a breakthrough last time around in the Belfort Gap, and we are on the border with Germany actually here. You can see we are about to cross the Rhine and go into Germany here, so that might be a very interesting setup over here. And what we are going to try to do is we are going to try to break through over here in the north and come around here, close in on the Schwarzwald, and potentially encircle all of these units. We don't know whether that is going to be viable, but that is what we're going to try. I don't think we're going to try to attack this stronghold over here, this redoubt, but the area here in the north looks very, very interesting indeed, and I think there's a huge chance over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set 2 objectives over here. The first is we're going to try to break through here in the north and try to get into Antwerp itself. You can see there are a lot of German planes down here, but most importantly, this is a level 9 port, and if we do control this and the Schelde estuary, we would be getting a lot of supplies in here potentially, and that would really, really help out because we are a little bit on the verge of our supply lines here. So I think that might be viable. Then we're going to take some units circular around this to Antwerp as well, come from sort of the rear, and hopefully encircle all of these units down here. We're not going to try to dislodge them now, but mostly bypass them. And then, most importantly, I think we're going to try to strike towards Germany along this huge gap over here. It's a very long route, but I would want to try to break through these fortified zones over here before the Germans put actually any fighting units in here. So if we can come into the Maastricht area here and bypass the Ardennes and the Hürtgen forest, I think that would be great, and we try to come here with all of our armored formations. Whether or not that is going to be viable, I don't know. So Italy, sort of, it's a mess, but we can probably advance a little bit, but not too far really. So this is just very, very difficult terrain still. So let's look at the air setup, and there are a couple of things that have changed now. The thing is, we're getting so many units that it's really tedious to go through all of this, and you can see just what kind of mess this is becoming. But just to sort of highlight what's going on, we're going to try to force the attack over here. We're going to try to weaken these units. If we can't break through over here, just as sort of a backup plan, we are going to increase the interdiction here in northern Belgium to prevent them from getting any supplies if we can't cut them off. And we're going to strike here at this little piece here around Aachen on the German line, hoping to be able to break through over here and at least create a gap in the Westwall in the Siegfried line before they are going to reinforce that. So that's that. Similarly, down here, we're going to attack this brigade over here, because that's probably going to stop us from advancing over here. They are difficult terrain, so this is going to be tough, and then we're going to attack down there. Now, there are a couple of big changes that we're doing with our strategic air forces, and that is the 15th Air Force is actually going to strike here around the Stuttgart area, whereas Bomber Command is going to strike around Cologne, and the other Air Force is going to strike around Kassel, mostly at the King Tiger Factory Works. It's not Henschel. I don't know. Anyway, now the big change over here is that these guys are actually primarily going to strike the rail yards, and that is because we are breaking through in Germany in July 1944 here, and I do have hopes that we don't have to actually disrupt the industry too much at this point, but pretty much their strategic mobility. By the same token, Bomber Command over here is actually changing one thing, and that is we're going to run them at day operations. This is the first time since a long time that the RAF is going to come out during the day and not during the night. But yeah, we're going to see whether that's going to work. So without further ado, let's execute our air directives over here and see what is going to happen. Lots and lots of strikes. I don't expect the Germans to challenge us in the air too much, but you can already see just one air combat here resulted in 2 aircraft shot down on our side and 24 on the German side. So they do struggle. We are still losing operational planes and due to flak. That is, of course, to be expected, but ultimately I think we're doing so fine over here. This is really a very nice vindication of our overall strategy so far, and specifically our striking at the German fuel industry to try to disrupt their fighting power, and I think it's really, really nice. We're also going to have to talk about our logistical situation, because it is getting strained. But if we do get Antwerp, I think that would be brilliant. So we're going to try to get to that target, and that's going to be nice. Right, not going to look at the results over here too closely. I think we can just, quote-unquote, look at the situation down here. So the nice thing is these motorized brigades here did lose some strength, so that's good. And over here, I think we're doing fine as well. So let's start out here in the north and see what we can do. Now we could of course try to bring in our tanks here and just directly sort of strike at these units. Now that is certainly a viable solution, but I think what we'd rather want to do is try to get around over here as far as possible. Now since these guys, you are not actually a full division, so we probably want to start with a full division here. Let's try to get you at least 2 over here. That should actually dislodge some planes from over here. 41 planes there, 36 planes here. That should get rid of all of these headquarters and a couple of planes here. So that should actually be kind of suitable. Let's do that. That is gonna also capture a couple of depots. That's fine. But we really do want to make our way pretty much over here towards Antwerp itself. And there is just headquarter units there, so if we can get rid of these guys, that would be fantastic. Okay, yeah, let's get you over here and into Antwerp itself. That's going to be a huge, huge thing for us to have that. And we're going to increase the priority here right away. We're going to ask for priority repairs on the port and the rail yards, because that is just going to be so useful. Now, the issue is we can't actually get supply into here as long as we are not controlling this hex, all of these hexes here, and this. So pretty much all of these polder territory and the shelter bank. So I think that's alright though. What we're going to do then is we are going to try to... That's 37 movement points. Okay, let's try to get you into Gen so that you don't have to cross the river. From there on, we'll do... Do we have infantry here? Yeah, we do. Do we have more infantry here? Yeah, we do. So you're not on this same headquarter, but I think you'll still be alright against the security battalion here. Do a hasty attack? Ooh, is that going to be enough? Yes, 26. Very much enough. Right, you can't really advance further. Well, you could, and you can attack again. So actually that's what we're going to do here. Yeah, we are going to get them to retreat. Unfortunately, they are now on the other side of that river there. And that is a little bit unfortunate. We don't really have any other infantry over here, so we are going to need to move the tanks. And I'm guessing we're going to move you up. There's no thing over there. No, so that's okay. Let's get you over here then. We're going to do a deliberate attack against this position. Yeah, we are going to get them to retreat. That's lovely. Okay, so we have at least encircled these guys, so that's a good start. Now, it's not going to be enough though, because we really do need to get on the other side of the river here and try to get rid of these guys. Unfortunately, we pretty much only have tanks at this point who can go... No. Just everyone cannot get into there. Right, let's at least get you on the other side of this thing there. Okay, I think what we need to do is we could try to get on the other side of the river, but that just doesn't seem viable for now. So let's get you into this polder territory. And these are going to be tough attacks, but I think it's what we have to do. Okay, let's try to do a hasty attack over here. Yeah, we are shifting them away there, so that's great. Okay, but you can't even attack that security battalion now, so that's unfortunate. Right, we can get you on the other side here. That would be alright. Yeah, this is very tough terrain over here. Now you can't attack because there's another river over here, so that's unfortunate. And I can't undo that move. Okay, so I did not see that river there. That's annoying. Right, how about you guys? Yeah, you can't get even close to there. So it's probably going to take at least another turn to clear out this terrain there. Can't really do much about that. We are at least going to grab that hex here too, which should be okay. Yeah, and then we're going to get you over here and just be in a reserve position. Okay, so that's the extent of what we can do here in the north. Now, I want to close this gap, of course, here and make sure that these Germans cannot escape from this encirclement. So let's try to get whatever infantry we have over here, primarily to ensure that we're not being cut off and everything. You're just a brigade group, but I think you'll be alright if we park you down here. And then on the other hand, we can get these troops here to advance towards the Herdgen Forest. On the other hand, we do need to have some troops over here as well. Right, okay, let's get you into this position there. That's alright, Polish power. You're going to move to the north here. Any further infantry? Yeah, these guys there. Okay, so you could try to make it over there, but I don't think you're going to be able to do that, actually. So I think that's alright. We could try to get rid of these guys, actually. This is just a reserve infantry. Yeah, but it's still not that weak. Brussels itself would also be very nice to actually take, and I don't think these security regiments, I think if we were to get rid of them, that would not be a terrible idea. Do they actually have any depot down here? No, they do not have any depot down here, so they should start to get some supply issues very, very quickly now. So that's all fine. So yeah, let's start to make our way here towards Aachen. Get rid of these headquarters there, just make sure that they're not around too much. You guys can get into this territory down here simply so that we're capturing that and making it a little bit harder for them to actually get anywhere. And that does bring us to the point where we are advancing onto onto the Hurtgen Forest here, which I suppose is fine. Can I actually get you here? Yeah. And then into Maastricht. Okay, so now we are close to that. We could attack over here. Now there are 2 cores over there. This is a city terrain, Aachen itself. This is clear terrain. This is clear terrain. So we are going to try to strike to the north here of Aachen. Do we have further troops that we can bring in? Yes, we do. So let's just try to get rid of these fortified zones. Nice. Can we attack again? Not with both of you. No, not at all. Okay, still, we have at least cleared out a single hex here of enemy fortifications. So that is nice. Let's bring you here. Make sure our flanks are secure. Get into Liège. Okay, so that's all fine. That's a very nice setup over here. More motorized troops. You're just a single brigade though, so typically that will make it a little bit harder for you to move up. Now we could try to get into the Ardennes over here. We could also try to strike south and at least force all of these headquarters here to withdraw. That's actually not a completely terrible idea. Right, let's also try to send our infantry a little bit to the north here. That should give us a fairly nice indication. Okay, let's try to get into Luxembourg. All of these guys are forced to withdraw. I think that generally puts some pressure on them, which I do like. Yeah, and that should actually threaten all of these positions here to a sufficient degree to make it at least difficult for them to get out of this. Okay, yeah, let's move up the infantry to get some overview here. We've got some special forces. You can try to get into contact there. You guys will be alright here. This is a different... Okay, let's take the 10th Corps. You're 10th Corps, right? So let's actually assign you to 10th Corps before I forget that later on. Okay, so that's alright. So you now have some control over this terrain here. That's all pretty nice. You guys are going to move on to Sedan. Very nice to capture that due to the propaganda effect that it had for Germany. So that's great. You guys, I think, are also going to try to make it north to actually ultimately strike into this terrain here. Yeah, and you guys can make it over here. Just, again, push these guys out, and that's fine. Good. I don't think there's anything that we can use to move into contact over here. But I think it's all in all okay. We have isolated these guys. We have captured Antwerp itself. We will need to push up this terrain over here. And that is going to be tough over time. But I think it's going to be alright. Yeah, we can't really get you anywhere into proper contact. So yeah, I think this is alright. We'll probably try to move up some infantry in between episodes. But we don't really need to do that on screen. So that's alright. Let's look at the southern German situation over here. So, you guys, how far can you actually get? Not as far as I would have liked you to. And I think one of the issues is that you're in the zone of control of these guys. So, question then is, can we actually move up anyone over here in a position where we can strike with you? And the answer is yes, we can move up the Indians. You could strike, but you'd be far too weak to actually do anything down there. You guys could come up, but you couldn't attack then. You guys can come up over here as well. And I think it's probably what we have to do here. Because we just need to get rid of these guys. 7. Well, I would like to have some tanks here as well. Issue is, we don't really have anyone around who could help out there. Okay, let's take the French armored. Yeah, you're going to move over here. We're going to take all of these guys and we're going to do a hasty attack here. But these guys are now committed to the defense, so that is probably not going to work. Yeah, it's by far not going to work, actually. They are stronger than us even. And we're losing a number of good men over here. That's because these guys did support. That is a shame. That does make it extraordinarily difficult to break through here. Right. Can we actually achieve a breakthrough in the north then? Which units are just barely able to get into contact? Because obviously we want to move these first. You could get there. Yeah, but it's pretty much only these armored units. Let's get you into contact there. How about you? Yes. Okay, do you guys have any chance of breaking through here? No, not at all. This is rough terrain, so let's actually bring in an infantry unit here, a motorized infantry unit. And we're going to try to push you away. We did manage to push them away, just not very far. Let's try to do that again. Yeah, okay. At least they are on the run. But we are getting weaker and weaker as we are moving through there, so that's a bit of an issue. Yeah, we really can't break through very far, is the thing. Right, we are getting some head up over here, but is there anyone who can now move further up here? Not even the infantry. You can't cross that river, so that does make it completely impossible, I think, to actually achieve an encirclement down here. So keeping that in mind, we don't have to be overly aggressive down here. If you can't make it through there, and there's no further tank unit or anything that we have over here. No, South American armored. There's an infantry division around, what's this, Offenburg? So that's just a no-no. Could get you into contact here, but not much more than that. Could push these guys away, but again, just to get over this dual river here, that is going to be tough. So I think what we're rather going to do, and even if we got through here, I mean, there's just no way how we're going to extend very far down here. So let's be a little bit mindful about that. Okay, let's move you onto these hills. Can we move anyone down there? No, no. You can at least get over here. Well, that's interesting. Okay, let's get these Indians over here. Then the other Indians are going to take your position. You're going to get either there or there. Let's get a little bit into their rear here. That's all right. These tanks, we can move them up over there. Okay, that's a decent setup. And then this infantry get into the middle here so that we're not completely cut off easily. I would like to move some more units down there if at all possible. Okay, yeah, let's at least use you to have a continuous line here. This is still looking a little bit flimsy for my taste. But there's very little we can do to plug that gap. Well, you actually have some movement points. Doesn't allow you to get over there, though. Well, you can actually move further, so that's interesting to know. Okay, can you guys get... Can I move anyone? I only need one person to move into this hex. Then we can move these guys up, and we'll have a decent line. You can't make it. No one down here seems to be able to make it. So honestly, what we probably want to do is just motorize a unit here. Motorize unit? Yes. I mean, probably... Wait, let's think about which one. Okay, let's take the 1st Canadian over here. I think they're a fairly strong unit. Yes, please. Remain motorization on following turns. You know what? Let's try to be a little bit more aggressive here. And that does actually mean that you guys can make it over here. Nice. Indians, you're going to move it further. That's lovely. So we are definitely threatening them, and that I think is all that we can hope for at this stage. It's unfortunate that we couldn't push back these guys further, but it's just the way it's going to be. I don't know whether all of these guys will be able to make it out of this kerfuffle here. We can certainly try to get into contact with more units to make it a little bit harder for them to actually withdraw. Let's get you over here. You guys can sort of close the gap to here and make sure that we're not being cut off. I think that's fine. And then you guys, can you move further? Yeah, we can at least move you here. Unfortunate that if we were able to close in just a little bit more, we would have at least prevented them from easily escaping. Although this way, they are still able to do that. They even have a rail line running out of this. That's unfortunate, but it's just, yeah, we can't really help that. Okay, down here, what we probably want to do is take you guys out. Let's do a deliberate attack here. Yeah, that's fine. Move you up here, and then all of you guys just do your thing there. Finish them off. 10,000 Germans gone. Nice. And you guys can move up. Great. Good. So I'm fairly confident about the situation down here. Also, because if we do look at the supply situation, so let's actually look at this. So we are running a single line here from Marseille all the way to Lyon. Not really further though, but still half of the way. You can see there's about 40,000 units of supply that have already been arrived over there, so that's good. And then I think what we're going to do here with the other rail line that is running from Genoa through these mountains up over here. These are not connected because I want them to be separate. Now we could build up a depot over here, but I think we actually might want to build one over here. So Belfort is level 3 rail yard. And this is also level 3, but I think we can make it over here with our railway repair group. And that would mean we have a very close supply base to all of this fighting down here. And this is being repaired, I think, isn't it? Yeah. So that's good. Yeah, I like that. Good. Last thing then, let's look at Italy. So, this is a little bit more complicated. Can I actually not advance into Yugoslavia? Is it hard-coded that you can't move into Yugoslavia? I did not know that. Wow. Okay, so I'm still learning things about the game over here. You guys, it seems like you can't make it into Slovenia either. I did not know. Right, okay, that does change things a little bit. Well, that's a little bit awkward. Can I actually get into here? Yeah, I can move into Germany over here. Well, interesting. Alright. So that probably means no attacks over here. I mean, there's no point in... Well, we could push out the line just one hex. And that would make it slightly easier for us, I guess. Although, at what cost? I mean, these guys are pretty strong. Can they actually move into Yugoslavia is the question then. I don't think I've seen them in Yugoslavia. They can source supply through this. Yeah, they can. Huh, well that's really weird. Okay, let's look at this situation over here then. That's less confusing to me at least. Right, okay, we have nearly cut off these guys, at least to some extent. So that's nice to see. Unfortunately, we can't... Well, we can at least sort of bunny hop our way into here. And we've got these mountain troops too. So ultimately, if we are moving towards Switzerland, we can cut off these German units here. And I don't think they have much in terms of supply. They do have some supply coming from here. Next supply depot is over there, actually. So I suppose we can move into these mountains with you guys. You guys are going to move up there. That's fine. You guys are fine over here. And then this is dangerous because it is threatening our supply situation. But I think it's going to be alright to sort of go like this. Move you guys over here. That's okay. You guys are going to move there. You guys can go into the zone there. And then basically move up all of these mountain troops into this terrain over here. These guys are, of course, coming from this area up here. And we'll probably need to... Are you actually... No, you're assigned to this army now. So that's okay. Right, moving a little bit towards the west over here. Now, I think we can actually push out our lines here slightly. Right, let's get you all over here. We've got no troops here. We've got some paratroops here. So that is nice. And I think we're going to move you into the same unit here as the 1st US Armored Corps. Now, with you being around here, if we were to break through there, that would be nice, but all of these forces are so strong. We have not a lot of troops, but we've some troops down here. Okay, at least take this position here. That does free up the armor. Armor can move into there. That means this armored unit can move further along there, and potentially, at least we did cut this rail line, and I think we are making it more difficult for the Germans. So that is nice too. I'm going to need to move some of these headquarters because there are some gaps where the Germans can break through. Speaking of how much... No, this is not a useful attack. This, however, is a useful attack. Let's do that. We're losing some guys over here, but they are routed, so that's lovely. They did lose that hex, so I'm not sure what that means for them. But it probably means we can at least move up one unit here. I think that should be alright. You guys still fine over there? Yeah, and everything else down here is fine too. Good. Okay, so let's revisit what we did over here. Antwerp, we did encircle a lot of guys here in Belgium. That's lovely to see. There's a small gap over here. I don't think they're going to be able to break out there. We did create a first hole in the west wall over here. Honestly, I had hoped for a little bit more, but we did need to close that gap here. So I think that's fine. Some disruption down here, not the biggest thing. This over here is fine. It would have been great if we had been able to advance just a little bit further, but sometimes it's just not possible. So yeah, we're going to need to move a lot of units up. I mean, we could try to motorize another unit. Let's actually look at how much do we have in terms of, I think it's production? How much do we have in terms of vehicles in pool? 300,000, 380,000, right? So if we do go ahead and let's take the 1st British Division, and we are going to ask you guys to be motorized. Yeah, just 1,700 trucks. I think that's alright. It's going to cost us some admin points, but we are going to retain your motorization. And that does not allow you to get anywhere. Just barely though, just barely. Okay, now let's move up over here so that we are making it a bit harder for them. Anyone else? Anyone else really? I mean, can you guys attack? No. No, it's just not viable. Unfortunate, but okay. And then there's this last thing over here. We've got all of these troops here. The 1st British Armored. You guys are specialized forced risposters. And I would simply love to get Cherbourg. But is that really a crucial thing that we need to do? Oh, you guys can actually advance too. But yeah, not all the way to Aachen, so... But you can close that gap. So let's actually do that. So, I would love to have Cherbourg. It's a nice port. That being said, we do have Le Havre, which is also a level 5 port. We do have Antwerp, and we will be able to clear out this area here. So, I don't think this is something that is still as critical as it used to be. We cannot hope to starve these guys out. They do still have level 4 fortifications. So honestly, I think we're simply going to withdraw from here. There's no point in pursuing attacks that are just not going to get anywhere. Oh, we also got some new infantry here, which we're going to certainly set up. So, frankly, I think that's alright. Probably, I do want to take this down here, because this is the only depot that is actually supplying these guys. It's a small port, but still, it would be nice to disrupt their supplies. So, let's actually grab that depot. That's all I need down here. And then everyone else here is gonna go east. There's simply no reason not to me. Right, are you... No, you're not in contact there, but I think it's still okay. Right. Yeah, so no battle for Cherbourg. We can leave them to rot. As we're doing with all of these guys. Yeah, and I think that's perfectly alright. So mountain troops here, you guys can actually make your way. Apparently you're not on a rail line yet. Okay, let's take it to Lyon. No. Right. So yeah, I think that is it. I'm going to move up a lot of units here to fill in the gaps in the rear. But that's pretty much it for this turn. So I think you guys can rejoin me next time. Bye bye, guys.